look, since you were last, it's only 2.5 years since you were last. Since you were last.
2.5 years ago?
I think it was 2021, maybe 2022. Okay. So it might be just 2 years.
Yeah.
Everything's gone fantastic for you since then. I'm not taking full credit, but you've been on all the TV shows. Okay. You've won the Comedy Award. I'm taking some of the credit.
Yeah.
It's been a whirlwind. Everything's going fantastically well. So you won the Edinburgh Comedy Prize this year, 2024.
Yeah.
After being twice nominated the previous year.
Thank you.
So that was must have been pretty phenomenal. How did that feel to?
Genuinely awful.
Was it?
Yeah. The moment's too big. The moment's too big, and there's a video of me. So there's like a presentation, and it was Richard Osman was presenting it, and my mum and dad came, and immediately got absolutely hammered because it's free alcohol at like 10 in the morning. And Richard Osman read out my name, and there's a video of me. He says, and the winner is Amy Gledhill. And I think it's my agent, goes to me and I go, I don't like it. And I go, I don't like it. And then I try and get my friend Chris Cantrill, who I'm in a double act with, I try and get him to come up on stage with me. And he's going, Amy, you got to go. And I'm going, I don't want to go. And all the pictures, which are meant to be things that you treasure forever, I look sort of baffled and sort of disgusted. Because I genuinely couldn't believe it. And then the day is a bit of a blur. And then on the evening, I tried to go out and celebrate.
Yes.
And I went to Monkey Barrel, which is the venue where I did the show. Yeah. Lovely. Then that shut. And then I tried to go to another place, Comedians DJ Battles. Ivo Graham, if you're listening, this is your fault. And couldn't get in. They wouldn't let me in.
Right.
I was like, please can I come in? They was like, no, your name's not on the list. And I was like, okay.
Wow.
And then I went to Assembly Bar.
You should have gone, don't you know who I am at that point? That was the one point in your life.
I know it's the one
day you're allowed to say, I'm the Edinburgh Comedy Award winner. You have to let me in.
I know. But then we went to Assembly Bar. And I got a pass. So there's in Edinburgh, there's performers bars, and you get passes from your agent or whatever. And I didn't have my pass with me. And I went to Assembly Bar and I couldn't get in there either. And I was just so instantly humbled and brought back down to the ground. You're like, I've realised my dreams, and now I can't even get into a bar where I can see my flyer is in there. Can you get me in? And they're like, I don't know where. And I'm like, get me in! In the end, and this is so embarrassing but so lovely, Tim Key,
yes,
he was leaving or something, and he saw me at the door. And he was like, can you not get in? And I was so embarrassed. And I was like, yeah, it's fine. I'm not even bothered. And then I think he spoke to the manager for 15 minutes to get me in.
Wow.
It was so lovely.
What the hell is wrong with the Edinburgh Fringe?
What? I know, exactly.
You're the queen of the Edinburgh Fringe.
I'm the queen of the Edinburgh. Why don't they know this? And then I got in, finally, was instantly overwhelmed and wanted to go home. I was like, I can't do this. I need to go back to bed and just look at the wall for a bit. So the day itself...
Yes.
I wouldn't recommend it.
Okay.
But since then, I've had a lovely time.
Oh, good. Because it's interesting, because Jenny Eclair, I've just read her book about it and talked to her on the book club. And she was the first female winner, solo female winner of the Perrier Award.
But I'm only number 6.
I know, it's crazy. That's crazy. That's absolutely fucked. But she found it overwhelming as well.
Yeah.
And she got, and I think it was later in the day, but she got pissed, and she ended up on stage singing with Leo Sayer for some reason on the night she won the Perrier Award. But she doesn't really remember how that happened. So you both had kind of slight, and then the next day she had an interview with someone and was incoherent.
Yeah,
and the journalist said, we're not going to print this because this is too...
Well, she's probably going, I was singing with Leo Sayer, and was going, she doesn't know what she's saying, bless her.
But it is, it's quite I think for her, even though she's, a very brash and seemingly very confident performer, she's in real life, she's obviously very different, but I think the weight of it as well, of that on your shoulders and representing women, which I still think it must feel like, right? If you're only the sixth female winner, and if you're is it 50 years? It's
something like that, yeah. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels really... The other thing as well is that you don't give it to yourself. And I think other comedians, when they see you, or not even comedians, but just other people are like, oh, look at her, she thinks she's good. It's like, it's nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
I saw other shows, I shouldn't say this, but I saw miles better shows than mine. I thought they were fantastic. And then people are like, oh,
yeah,
look at it. And you're like, no,
Yeah,
it's hard,
difficult because it's such a big, and it becomes such a big thing. And I think especially for comedians at a certain level, it becomes so important.
Yeah.
And and I'm way beyond the level where I could ever get nominated for it, and it still bugs me. I mean, it bugs me. It bugs me that I've never been nominated for it.
Have you not?
No. So it's still
mad.
like you still think and well, I think it's interesting if you look at the people who've never even been nominated.
Yes,
they've missed. I mean, they've got a lot of great people, obviously over the years, but they've missed quite a lot of the biggest names of people. Me.
Hello.
Stuart Lee. Not that good. Stephen Merchant, Ricky Gervais, Bill Hicks. There's lots of people who never got nominated. Admittedly, some of those didn't got up very much.
Yeah.
But it becomes such the focus of the whole thing, of the whole festival. I think for most comedians, even if you're beyond it, it still is a sort of there's a big negative thing to it, right? As much as a huge
100%.
positive if you get nominated. But then so I think you will get. You'll feel people's eyes boring into you, even if they don't mean you any harm, I think.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
But I'm so chuffed.
Yeah.
I don't want it to sound like a negative thing. Like, I'm so chuffed. And it didn't hit me, because it's not called the Perrier anymore, because it's called, this year's, it's got a real catchy title, the one I've won. It's called the Don and Eleanor Taverner Award. Just rolls off the tongue. And it hadn't hit me until about 2 weeks later. I was driving to a gig, and I don't know why, but it just hit me sort of in the middle of the motorway. I just went, I've won the Perrier! And it like swerved off the road. I was like, oh fuck, I need to pull over. This is fantastic. But I just hadn't called it that.
Yeah.
And then when I think about all the people that have, it's
all right.
And haven't. Because there is a point where you're sort of too big.
Yeah,
to
but
be...
I don't think that. I think it's so fluid that sometimes people who like Rich Hall won and been a big star in America and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And sometimes people like, well, you were nominated for Best Newcomer because you'd never been up as yourself, but you'd been up lots of stuff. That's sort of a weird division.
All right, let's not dig into who should be nominated, who shouldn't. It was my first show.
I think it feels, because you could argue I've been on TV in a double act, but I hadn't been as a solo.
Yeah.
So when I did Christ on a Bike, I just, because I wanted to be able to be nominated, I jokingly said to them, this is my first solo show I've ever done in Edinburgh, so can I be up for Best Newcomer? And they debated it for 25 minutes.
Oh
about
my
whether
God!
And I didn't want to be Best Newcomer because that would have been going up for 15 years by that point.
Sure.
But it made me happy that they debated it amongst themselves, that they'd done that. But I felt like I wasn't so famous. I sort of feel it should be, if you're playing a venue of a certain size in Edinburgh for long enough, that you should be eligible. So if you're playing a 500-seater, you're too big to be nominated.
For sure.
But if you're playing under 100 seats or 200 seats, wherever you decide the thing is, then everyone should be eligible. But then again, there's so many. I think it should be for newer people. I think in the long run, because now there's just waiting. When I was going up in the 90s, there were like 50 shows maybe eligible, so you had a really good chance of being of getting nominated. Still didn't get nominated. Arthur Smith came. I did Rara Rasputin. There was one person on the panel who loved it, which was this. It was like a jukebox musical before there were any jukebox musicals of Boney M. and the Story of Rasputin.
Oh, nice.
And it was us on a tiny stage doing song and dance things. Sally Phillips was, and it was pretty good. William Cook, who was on the panel, came to see it and thought it was brilliant. Then on one Monday, the entire panel came to see it and were basically the only people in the audience. And they'd had this one guy going, "This is the best thing you've ever seen," and they all just sat there going. And it was the only night. It was the only day it didn't really work. But Arthur Smith had come up and said you're on the list. So the night before, and then I wasn't on the list.
Oh fuck! It's hard. It's a hard.
It is,
thing to do,
but then I think at that point it could have made a difference. It could have made a bit of a difference, but.
You didn't need it. Look at you now with your timeshare and your thick scrotum. Didn't need it.
You're right, I didn't need it. But no, and it's lovely to have some, I think, you know, generally speaking, whatever you felt, I think it was the whole list, I think this time in the 2024, everyone was really felt that it was deserving people. I think people were very happy for you that you won. You're a popular person in the circuit, I think, that people were glad to see win.
Nice.
So it feels like a good winner. And yeah, I mean, I'm surprised it's 6 women, to be honest. I thought it might be less than that.
Really?
But it's still absolutely
shocking. It's shocking.
Absolutely.
Yeah.